it's safer for me and the equipment to be on the stage, but sometimes as an artist, you just can't like stop yourself. So we'll
Right.
see what happens.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now.
Mixi, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Always exciting to talk to somebody for the first time. This is, however, not your first rodeo. Third album is coming. Now, a lot of artists say that, you know, in my career, making my second album was the hardest because you have to, like, in a short time after your first album tends to be a collection of the greatest hits that you've had to work on for years and years as you're forming a band. But the third one is the one where you really have to confirm what you did in that second one. And if we look back in history, a lot of the biggest classics were third albums, right? You know, Master of Puppets, Number of the Beast, you name it. So the pressure was on when you guys were working on this. How was it for you?
Well, honestly, it was the second record that was the hard one. This one was so, like, we just knew what we were doing from the beginning. We were very focused. Right. We were all on the same page. So it was like 15 songs we wrote for this record, and that was it. And almost all of them made the cut. So it was pretty clear what we wanted to do, and right from the top. And I think we nailed it.
So far from like a lot of early reviews, a word that seems to be coming back a few times is fresh, and I agree with that. I think that a lot of songs on this album would do really well live, and when I listen to a song like Immortal, I think that can create some crazy mosh pits. Was it, you say, like, oh, we were kind of, you said that we started writing and we were very much aligned. Does that mean that as a team you kind of went in with a battle plan and you had an idea where you wanted to go to, or how did that form?
Yeah, we already knew we wanted to revisit some elements from Never Alone. We wanted to revisit our original vision of the band back in 2010. We wanted more riffs, we wanted more screaming, we wanted more heavier breakdowns, we wanted to go hard, we didn't want to hold back, and yeah, it shows for sure. There was no sugarcoating, no holding back. We just went for it.
Yeah. It's interesting how you guys seem to very effortlessly like weave multiple genres into your mix. I think The Hunting is a great example of a song that is just as much alternative as it is industrial metal. Your sound makes it possible for you to play with many different bands, be on a lot of different bills, and also be in front of different crowds. You know, like there are songs that are maybe a little bit more of a Halestorm crowd, but then you've got songs like Possess Me where you could play with Lorna Shore, like, you know, like very, very different. Have you seen that as you play with different, maybe first question, if you play with vastly different artists on the same bill, do you adjust your set to that? Will you play a heavier set for what you expect to be a heavier crowd?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, like, and Immortal is so fun live. Like, we played one show so far, Possess Me and Immortal, were both like just, you could tell the crowd was digging it. So that was really exciting. But yeah, we mold our set based on what bands we're on tour with. I love that you said Lorna Shore. I'm down for the Pig Squeals. I'm out. I'm all good. You know, like, I love that stuff. So I hope so. Give me a Lorna Shore bill any day.
Yeah. Do you see, because you have played with some very different artists, have you seen different crowds react also differently to your set, or do you see that it doesn't really matter what people, you know, where they come from, that they kind of react the same way to your music? Like, what's that experience like for you on stage?
Well, yeah, it's different with every genre, every tour that we go out with. Like this next one, we're going out with Escape the Fate. I'm curious to see how that goes. We toured with Steel Panther, which was interesting to see. The crowd was just so pumped. They didn't care who was playing first. They really didn't. They were ready to rock. So it's like, you know, and Godsmack, it's like a little get into the groove, and then finally, I mean, as a support act, you kind of slowly start to see the crowd, like, who are you? Oh, okay, I dig it. All right, that's cool. You know, so that's one of my favorite things. But yeah, it definitely varies based off of what bands we're out with, but mosh pits are cool.
It came out a few times in recent interviews where more and more artists say, like, you know what, I like to see the mosh pits, but in my younger days I would jump in as I'm playing and I would partake, but those days are over because I don't want to get hurt anymore. And any mosh pit stories that you have you can share?
I used to do a lot of crowd surfing, and then wherever I'd end up, that's the same story with me though with crowd surfing. Is I did it a lot, and then we have like an expensive wireless pack, and it falls off somewhere, and luckily we get it back. But and butt grabs and things like that. So it's safer for me and the equipment to be on the stage. But sometimes as an artist, you just can't like stop yourself. So we'll see what happens.
You mentioned already the Escape the Fate tour. They're coming out with a new album as well. That band has reinvented itself quite a bit. Exciting to see what they're doing. That tour is gonna be pretty busy for you. I think you're just a days away of leaving on that tour, and they'll keep you busy till early mid-October. What should we expect from that set list? If you mentioned 2 new songs already that you played at the show, but can we expect a whole lot of new material?
I wish I could play all the new ones because, it's just so exciting. It's such a fun, energetic album, and I feel like it would definitely call for it this tour. But we're going to give some of the people that want some of the old stuff. We got a 25-minute set, so we're splitting it half and half. Three songs old, 3 songs new. And I'm just so excited for the new ones. Like, I want to do a whole tour, like headlining just this album and then just go for it. But yeah, half and half.
Yeah. Okay. Now, talking about touring with different bands, and you said like, "Well, I'd be down for Lorna Shore to play with us," but there's a good element of industrial metal in your sound. Does that mean that on the bucket list, like, playing with bands like, if 9 Inch Nails ever did stuff again, or the Rammsteins out there, who brings that industrial love to your mix? By the way, is it you?
It's a little mixture of me and Merritt, our guitar player. He likes all that weird, quirky programming, glitchy. We both really enjoy a lot of like layers and atmospheres in the music. But yeah, Rammstein, yes, please. Like, bucket list. That would be amazing. Motionless in White would be a great match for us in this moment. But I feel like these days bills don't have to be all the same. I think that, people having a set that like a whole tour that's the same sound is you're just hearing the same songs over and over again. So mixing up a tour a little bit with maybe a little different version of rock or metal or whatever, I feel like is good because it gives everybody a little, our taste is eclectic these days with streaming. So I feel like, you don't have to stick to one thing for a whole tour,
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, because not only, obviously through technology, we have access to so many different things and people are exploring a lot of different elements, but we also just see that bands that are not afraid to mix things together that before weren't necessarily done, like yourselves, getting more and more traction. It seems that the metal community, the metal scene, is also a lot more open-minded than it was 10 years ago, for example. Do you think you would have had the same traction or people would have been as open as they are today if you started this journey like several years earlier, or did the scene have to become a little bit more open-minded?
I definitely think it had to be more open-minded. I think that's just the day and age that we're in with I feel like we're almost in a post-genre world where it's like you can mix rap and country, and you can mix like pop and metal, and like you can, like, I feel like there's definitely a lot more. It's just more acceptable, more, so yeah, for sure. And all of that stuff, like, I like a bunch of different styles of music, so adding that to our music, getting really cool sounds and having everything in the box, so many different sounds you can get, it just makes it easier to cross genres.
Talking about going on tour, I mean, we know from other interviews and just your social media presence that you very much love your dogs as well, which I think with lines like "I'm the leader of the pack" in a song to the wolves, I think that song's just written about your huskies, but maybe that's not true. Um, so what's gonna happen with those guys when you're on the road for so long?
Honestly, the whole album is dedicated to the
There you go.
Pomskis. They're little. They've taken over my world. I did take one of the Pomskis out on tour, and she was awesome. But I got her a friend, and the two of them together are terrors. So it's not a good idea. Like we would
Yeah.
be. They'd be driving us all crazy. So I love them both. I'm gonna miss them so much. We moved in a couple people into our house to like watch our pets when we leave. So they're all gonna keep an eye on the cats and the dogs and stuff.
Yeah. Now, I mean, to turn this sillier question into a more serious one, we know this about you because in today's world, there's a social presence, and you have to be your own brand as well as the band has to be a brand, and you do that very well. Is that the I don't think persona is the right word, but the Mixi persona, because I don't think that you're not, yourself, but having to have that as a brand and a focal point as well, is that for you, is that a blessing or is that a curse?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's how you look at it. I just kind of do my own thing, and I do separate the band. I think of it as like I am my own brand. Who I am as a person is me. As my character is also different than I am on stage. Like
Right.
I am a very much a hermit, like you were just kind of saying. I'm like a different person when I go up there. So yeah, but the other me deals with SSRIs and therapy and a lot of mental health stuff, and that's why the art comes out the way it does. But
Hmm.
it's a beast, it's a monster that comes out when I'm on the stage. And as far as the band goes, I try to keep them together and separate, but try to keep it as professional band related on the
Right.
sites with the band.
You talk about it very much as a collaborative band. At the same time, a lot of times you'll see that the band is positioned as, oh, this is Mixi's band. This is, this is that does that frustrating at times?
I mean, we already knew that kind of going into it. We were told like by the label that that's going to be a thing that happens in the future. So just know that like the singer
Hmm.
kind of does outshine a little bit, and being a female and not such a in a male dominated industry.
Right.
I think it does stand out a little bit. It doesn't bother me. The bass player might have a different response to that,
Right.
but I have no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I mean. It's just the way it is, and I appreciate it when somebody's like, I just can't stop watching your drummer. I can't stop watching the guitar player. And I'm like,
Hmm.
good, give them attention. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's very, very me center focused, I think.
Now, when you go on the road with a band like Escape the Fate that has had a roller coaster of a career themselves, to say the least, and they, for still a younger band, they've got so much experience. And I was actually talking to them on Tuesday, about the new album and the tour and so on. Do Are there any like specific hopes that you have for as outcomes for this tour? Like, are there specific things that you're going to be paying very close attention to understand? Okay, what can I learn? What are stuff that I can take away from it? Like if you're preparing mentally for a tour like that, like what's all on your list in your head?
Right now, we are really, really focused on our front of house sound.
Hmm.
We are going to be sharing the same engineer as Escape the Fate. Luckily, they're letting us share, and he is amazing and phenomenal. And we just bought our M32R board, so we're trying to get as much in-house as possible,
Hmm.
stage box, all of the gear. So we're upgrading our sound. Maybe there'll be lights. We'll see what'll happen with that.
Yeah.
But learning, really just learning, watching, and making new friends, really.
you know, we've seen some singles come out. We had the tour. Obviously, you're just getting started with this whole cycle. You're going to be promoting this album for quite some time. So everybody watching this this video, what in the, you know, beyond October, let's say, what should we keep our eyes open for? What should we keep our fingers crossed for?
I personally want to be out on tour 24/7, 365. So we're going to do a lot of touring, and at some point we're going to try to do a headliner run. So we haven't done a headliner since 2017, so it's definitely time. And yeah, just trying to get out there as many places as possible, really.
Awesome. There we go. Well, I hope that we can get a lot of updates on all those social channels about more tours, and then I have to find a way to get a separate bus for the dogs to come along, or you'll have to get people in your house 24/7 as well as you're touring, but I'm sure you'll figure that out. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I wish you the best of experiences on the road.
Thank you, Jasper. Thank you for taking the time with me, and yeah, I'll share this whenever it comes up.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.